what's up, crypto junkies? It's Jay, and in this video we are going to talk about Bitcoin conspiracies. I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and well, here we go. So if you were to jump on over to Google, there is no short supply of results. We've got 1.9 million results general. If we were to throw this in quotes, how many competing results? Just 9,600, which is really, really low. So from an SEO standpoint, hint, hint, you go ahead and rank for this bad boy pretty quick. Anyway, couldn't help myself. So there's a lot of Bitcoin conspiracies. And what I mean by that is, who made it? Why is it here? Where's it going? What are we doing? Let's just get a few out of the way, and there's a few that I want to focus on. And the angle I want to focus on is an individual created it versus a group created it, okay? That's where I'm going to primarily focus. Let's just get one out of the way, and this is coming to you from Inc.com, which they don't really have that great of articles, but yeah, this one I'll grab some info from this. I pre-read and thought through much of what you're about to hear, but where is it? Where'd he go? Oh, here we go. Okay, number 14 here. This is the one I want to get out of the way really, really quick. Did Dr. Craig Wright? I don't even know if he's a doctor. So did Craig Wright, the Australian guy who you always see talking about Bitcoin Cash, did he create Bitcoin? Is he Satoshi Nakamoto? I'm saying no. I'm saying no for a lot of different reasons, but the biggest one is that he's had multiple opportunities to present really easy evidence, a screenshot of all the Bitcoin that he has. Like, there's been time and time again where he's provided his proof and it fell short. There's actually a really great interview with Doug Polk and Richard Hart, and Richard Hart goes through this hypothetical because, again, you got to watch, and I'm not saying anything here because Craig Wright really likes to throw around lawsuits, but yeah, it doesn't add up. And the deeper thing that I'll say is, you can go check that video out. Richard Hart really breaks it down well in terms of the technical pieces. I'll just talk about the behavioral pieces. I really don't think that a guy who went out of his way to create a cryptocurrency to free the world from centralization would be so fucking rude to so many people all the time, and like insulting, borderline bullying. I really don't think that guy like turned 180 and all of a sudden he like hates people. Which, again, if you look at Craig Wright's behavior overall, he really isn't that nice of a guy. And so, again, why would a guy like that make something like this? And again, if this was the thing that he created, there's supposedly 500 Bitcoins still floating around under the, that's his take, right? 500 Bitcoins right here. He started with 1,000. Supposedly he would still have 500. It'd be very easy to provide some shred of proof on that, okay? So yeah, let's talk about, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the individual creating it and some of the beliefs there, and then a group creating it, okay? So we all remember the situation where they got it wrong. Who did they actually... yeah, here it is. Newsweek famously misidentified Satoshi Nakamoto in 2014. They showed up at this guy's house, a 64-year-old Japanese-American guy named Dorian Prentice. And yeah, he denied that he was the founder of Bitcoin, but that didn't stop it from being all over the news and a pretty big ordeal, okay? Some of the more... some of the better examples would be this Nick, whether that's Sabo or Zabo, silent S or silent Z, not sure. He's basically this reclusive American who has been in the Bitcoin core, let's call it, team and the Bitcoin project since the very beginning. They analyzed some writing style, Ashton University, and they said that it's pretty uncanny. So there's a potential for who this one individual might be. It could also be this guy here, Hal Finney, who died in 2014 from ALS. But I'm going to say no. I've got a couple pieces myself. I don't know if you want to call this insider info, but I met somebody out here in Asia, and they, somehow through the crypto circles, got in touch with this guy who was not really the best from a social dynamic standpoint, social interactions. He was a little weird, and he had some papers dating back to the original founding documents for Bitcoin. And what this guy was talking about is that it was a small group of people who did it. And that makes sense to me, and I understand that this really isn't, I'm not giving you any definitive proof. I'm basically saying that a person that I trust met somebody and told me this story, and so therefore I trust it. I'm not saying that's what I think is going on here, but I like the idea of a group creating it more than an individual. Because if you look, what a ICO is required to have, and a team an ICO is almost required to have to be successful. It's not just one person. We have engineers involved. We have people signing off on it. We have people contributing different pieces to the overall coin and the overall brand and business that is getting made here. So it makes sense that we would have an engineer provide this. We'd have maybe a marketing guy provide that. We'd have these different people providing different pieces of the original white paper. And that has been proven that there are different people that contributed to that. So that fits that storyline. The thing I want to spend a little bit more time on in this video is just from a common sense logic standpoint. Take a step back. We can all agree we have no clue who made it. We can all agree we don't know why it was made. Now let's look at some other convenient things going on. In the past, in the US, in the world rather, we've never had a currency, a fiat currency, last as long as the US dollar has lasted without a collapse, okay? I believe we're coming up on 78 years. I've talked about this before in another video. That overall is a huge warning sign. Another big warning sign is that the U.S. Federal Reserve is no longer audited on its gold reserves, which is supposed to be the backing. So the gold standard backing for the fiat currency is no longer there. It hasn't been, okay? That's a concerning indicator, okay? And if you look at some other stats, which is that this is when I resort to pieces like this on Sovereign Man. I like his research. I've been following this guy for quite a long time, years and years. He doesn't really just pull numbers out of his ass and bullshit, okay? So here's the number that we're looking at, is that the national debt is estimated to exceed $25 trillion by September 30th, 2020. That is such a staggering number. I think that most people can't even really fathom and understand that. Now, what we can all agree on, again, I'm sure, is that the national debt amount in the United States is very, 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 very high. And we have some IOUs with serious amounts of countries, okay? China being a big one, okay? So we've got these IOUs all over the place. We've got new problems coming up too. We've got new national debt crisis coming up. Student loans is another bubble that's getting ready to pop. Okay, we're still not out of the woodwork with the housing bubble. Wouldn't it just be convenient to get rid of fiat because of crypto? So whether they used crypto as like a blaming thing, like, man, crypto became so popular, it destroyed fiat. I don't know if they would go that angle, or they would just say, hey, you know what, this is actually a smarter thing to do this. We're going to figure out a way to roll to completely get rid of fiat in the United States and go digital. Okay, this also fits in, again, we're in conspiracy theory land here, if you didn't realize that. This also would fit into the piece of, remember when RFID chips, they were trying to really push that and it didn't really work. So this is a digital means of tracking money. This is a digital means of you basically putting all of your money into this digitally. Okay, that opens up new opportunities for this to be tracked, even though everybody thinks that it can't be. And what I see overall, though, in crypto is that there's way too many people who are like, think that we're fighting this heroic fight and this is a hero's story about how, Bitcoin is winning. All of this could just as easily be staged, like the positioning of, Warren Buffett, all the people in the government, all the big heads of banks. This could very easily be staged to make it look like they're fearful of crypto, to make it look like they're scared and terrified of this thing, when in fact they don't give a fuck, when in fact maybe they created it, when in fact they might already be hugely on board with blockchain technology, which we're finding out is already true for a lot of these big banks. So how convenient. The big banks make it look like they put up this big fight and they were forced to innovate for the first time in 40 years. And what if that was just part of the plan? To make it look like that was this, part of this, again, this big hero's journey, right? And in the end, they're already balls deep in blockchain technology and the backbone of all this. And they're working on rolling it out and, getting rid of the US dollar. So you can't excuse that, no matter how little or how deep you want to go into the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. You can't deny the fact that it might not be what it seems on the surface, okay? And I think the guy who's going to lose the most is really like the diehard, way too emotionally committed guy in crypto who will hold on way too long. He's the diehard in Bitcoin, that there'll be all this writing on the wall when Bitcoin pivots and crypto pivots, and he'll completely lose his everything because he'll wait too long. No, it can't be. There's no way. Again, he thought this was this big freedom fight for decentralized currency, and he didn't get the memo in time. Okay. So overall, what I would suggest is that don't rule out pivots happening in crypto. I've been saying this for I don't even know how long, probably since the 5th or 6th video I started shooting, is that don't get too used to crypto because it might pivot. How we see it right now, it will be completely different a year from now. The space is just moving way too fast. So be on the lookout for the pivots. Be on the lookout for where this thing is going to go. Does that mean Bitcoin is going to go away? I don't know. Cryptocurrency as a whole is here to stay. Is Bitcoin here to stay? I don't know. Okay, so there's one more that I want to touch on, and that is that Bitcoin was created by either the CIA and MI5 to pay out secret missions without being trackable. And it was, then created and spun out to technically be this thing that would take over, knowing that it would take over as this sort of decentralized currency. And it's been centralized the whole time. Okay, so that's what this article is talking about. Doesn't really give a lot of detailed information. Basically, what they talk about is a cybersecurity expert was doing a presentation in Russia, and they took pictures of her slides and it went viral on social media, which is basically that Bitcoin is a project of the American intelligence agencies, which is designed to provide quick funding for U.S., British, and Canadian intelligence activities in different countries. All right, now the other one I want to talk about is, and you see it's even listed on the Inc. article here, somebody was even saying that Satoshi Nakamoto roughly translates as Central Intelligence. I don't know if that's true or not. The other one that I wanted to talk about is that, where did it go? Where are you? There it is. That it could be a group of companies that created it. Again, this is another conspiracy. So we've got Samsung, Toshiba, Nakamichi, and Motorola. And if you grab a piece of each one of their names, you get Satoshi Nakamoto. Again, there's not that much validity to this, but I like the idea and playing around with the thought that this isn't some big heroes, battle that we're all in, and the diehard Bitcoin core people are, are more right or wrong than the next person. You always got to have a healthy dose of skepticism and really, let's call it logic in this thing. And where we're heading is, we've got, it looks like ETFs will come out soon on Bitcoin. That's a big step forward. Banks are taking the blockchain technology. Companies are taking the blockchain technology and using it for a more transparent business model for transactions. So it's not just used for currency, but it's used in transacting and being more transparent in transacting, which I think is very interesting. But we have to start looking forward on what it does mean when all the banks get involved and what they might be looking for out of it and the solution they might be looking for, because they got their own sets of problems. You know, the Fed, remember, the Federal Reserve is not the U.S. government. It's a separate private business, and it has its own set of problems right now that is trying to get out from underneath, which is trillions of dollars in fucking debt. It's printing money as a means to try and fix the problem, which we all know will never work. So that's all I've got for you. I really just hopefully playing devil's advocate a little bit, getting you to think a little bit more. Don't get so hooked and so deep in on this crypto stuff that you fail to see that there might actually be something else going on. And also, too, don't get so caught up in it that you fail to see the writing on the wall and the very obvious pivots as they come your way so that you can make smarter decisions and ultimately win. I want you guys to win in this whole equation. Make money, become more financially free with cryptocurrency. But don't think that just because we've got it and now everybody widely accepts crypto and says, yeah, Bitcoin's not going anywhere, crypto's not going anywhere. Don't think that that's true. And don't think that it can't wildly change from what it is now into what it could become. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If this is the first video you've checked out and you like what we're doing here, go ahead and smash the like button, place a comment, let me know your thoughts on what we just talked about, and then go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. YouTube just made some really, really big changes recently, and we are definitely affected by that. Our overall viewership has gone down for a channel with 15,000 subs on it and barely getting 1,000 views on our video, and we used to get 3,000-4,000 views, 10,000-20,000 views on some of our good, more polarizing videos. We need help, guys. We need help, absolutely. And so I'd love for you to just take a couple seconds, if you support what we're doing, to just show some love, share it, place a comment, like it, subscribe if you're not already, and be on the lookout for more content hitting the channel very soon, my friends. See ya.